there. Today I would like to talk with you about rescue charities and how you can get involved. Even if you maybe not are interested or can't adopt a dog yourself right now, or don't want to commit to having a dog, which is an absolute responsible thing to do. If you have watched some of our other videos, you might have known that I have 2 dogs. All of my dogs I had before, he's my first own dog, but my family and I always had dogs. So all of our dogs were rescues too, and I think it's just an amazing cause. And there are so many pets ready to be loved. So yeah, I'm absolutely pro rescue. So one of the things to volunteer or to foster homes where you take care of a full baby, where basically they get used to, depending on their history, maybe they have just been rehomed or whatever, so they're used to living at in home, but maybe they are stray dogs and they have never really learned being in a home, in a domestic home. Foster homes would then come into place where someone takes on the dog basically as if they would adopt the dog. So the dog lives with them, they work with the dog, they train the dog, they feed the dog, all the things you would do as if the dog would be your own. However, it's just a dog for a certain time. So you are not adopting the dog, but you're basically giving the dog a temporary home until they find someone who is ready to adopt them. And I think this is an amazing opportunity to do really good and to get involved without having to commit long term. I should say probably though that there's quite a lot of failed fosters or foster homes where they wouldn't let the dog go anymore. So they obviously fell totally in love and kept the dog, which is an amazing thing also to do, because quite frankly, you're rescuing a dog, depending on what the story is of the dog, how old the dog is, if they have some issues or not. It's quite different adopting a puppy maybe. It can be challenging, it can be tough, and it's a roller coaster, an emotional roller coaster. So maybe it's a great idea to get to know a dog up front before you really commit to having the dog as part of your life and really committing to the dog forever basically. The thing is though, this turned out during lockdown and it was not really something I gave too much thought about, but loads of the people who signed up for foster homes, they obviously want to foster the easy dogs, the ones without issues, the ones that are quite easily rehomable, that are ready to be loved the way they are basically. And this is absolutely fine, especially I think if you're not that experienced with another dog, or if you have another dog, you need to keep people safe or keep children safe or whatever. There's 1,000 reasons why this is a splendid idea to do. However, what they are really in need of are often foster homes who can also teach dogs who maybe have fear-based reactivity or something else. So foster homes experience enough to deal with a dog who might show signs of fear-based reactivity or anything in that line. So who a bit more work, I'm saying a bit more, it might be quite a lot more work, who are experienced, who really can help rehabilitate, but also to socialize dogs, to really get them used, because obviously these are the kind of dogs who need it in order to help them become a bit more certain, a bit more self-assured, maybe to trust people, or human beings in general, and to help them to be ready to be loved, having a better start in their rescue journey, I guess. Another thing could be to ask charities if they need volunteers, and this could be to look after them. Sometimes they just need people who go in there and help to cuddle the dogs, to spend some time with them, because for the rescue dogs, if they're in the shelter, some of them are in the shelter for years, right? So it's quite sad and it's quite lonely, and it's very different to living in a home, and especially when they maybe have come from a home and then are suddenly isolated or anything like this, and are just being in the kennel. I know for my boy, he wasn't in the kennel for long, but for him it was super tough. So if you maybe can be the person who goes there, sits with some dogs, especially maybe with nervous dogs, so sometimes they just need people who go there and to just help take care of the dogs or cuddle them or something like this. Then the other things, maybe you're experienced in dog training or want to get some experience, so maybe this is something you could do, or help walk the dogs, etc. Right? So this is different opportunities to volunteer. Another thing is obviously also to get funding. Rescue homes or any charity who does any work for dogs, generally charities, they need money, so they often but it's dog charities, if they are maybe from abroad or somewhere else, they have high vet bills if they find dogs and or cats who have been shot, who had accidents, who need flea or worm treatment, whatever it might be, right? So they have like quite high vet costs when they just take the babies in, or like the dogs in, and get them treated. And they need obviously people to help them fund this, because charities are not run by people who are like millionaires, and if they would be, then they would not really be millionaires for a really long time, I guess, because these things do cost a lot of money. Also, if it's charities who rehome dogs to maybe abroad homes, then there's flight and travel costs, etc. So money, I think, is one thing they always need. So maybe you can do a fundraising, maybe you can collect money, maybe you can collect items people no longer need, which is a bit difficult during COVID, because some of the charities are not allowed to take anything in at the moment. And then the easiest way, I think, also to get involved without basically doing anything is to spread awareness, follow certain rescue pages, to share, to like, to support them, raise awareness, and get informed of what is happening, who needs help, who needs. So for one basic example is we need a fly buddy. The more people spread the word, the higher the chance that we find someone. And this is just like one example, obviously, but generally they always need flight buddies. So the more people we can inform about what does it take to be a flight buddy, and that it's quite a straightforward process, that it doesn't cost any money, that like all of these things. So we'll make it easier to find people who are responsible enough to take the dogs with them when they fly from one country to another. Which would make obviously the rehoming way easier. Another thing is, like, for example, check if they do like some auctioning, if they do some fundraising. So I know, for example, Muscat Dog Adoption, they do auctions. So they have it's like some of the like really nice items that you can get. It's like an auction, so you can buy them, but the funding completely goes to Muscat Dog Adoption and help to save money for the animals. So there's like different things you can do to support charity, support rescue dogs, even if you maybe again like not are able to rehome a dog right now, which is completely fine and a responsible thing to do. What I would like to say though is, especially if you give money to a charity, if you see, for example, vet bills being posted online or anything, and you see pictures of dogs who are being hurt, etc., make sure that the money goes to the right people and to the right charity. Scam people out of their money. And it's a really horrible thing to do. I think it's horrendous, scamming charities, but obviously it's something that is happening. So yeah, please make sure what's the best way to donate something, etc., to talk to the people, to maybe donate it right to the vet, etc. So just make sure that your funds go to the right people, to the right. You forget something? Or is that all? Quickly check if I have any of my notes. One last thing that I would like to highlight, that I would like to mention, is if you know someone who recently, or not even recently, who maybe even like got like a year or 2 years ago, or what, like generally got a rescue dog, have an open ear. It might just really make the difference, because I'm a complete and utter fan and believer in rescuing or like adopting a rescue dog. However, it can be tough, especially if you have no one to talk to in this journey without any support. Dogs generally obviously are a time commitment, they're like a financial commitment. It's suddenly like way more okay. It's suddenly if someone passed by, it's it's like so much more responsibility you have as well. It's no longer just yourself, it's another being, like another little person in your life who depends totally on you. So this might be just something people have underestimated. If you don't know what to do, you don't know what to do. If they have loads of energy, every dog is different. Just have an open ear for them, be there for them, because it's tough and some people are not making it. Dog ends up back in the shelter or is being rehomed again. So if you can be there for your friend, for your family, someone, be there. So this is like maybe the last thing I would like to mention on how to get involved in rescuing or like adopting a dog, even if you cannot adopt your dog yourself. We done with the video? Yes, are we done?